Johnny Depp has long been one of the most enigmatic and captivating figures in Hollywood. His name alone conjures a multitude of associations: the rebellious heartthrob of the 90s, the eccentric Jack Sparrow, the troubled star who found himself in the center of public scrutiny, and the versatile actor who has consistently defied Hollywood norms. Yet to reduce his legacy to a single character or phase would be an injustice to the complex tapestry of artistry, controversy, and transformation that defines Johnny Depp. While Captain Jack Sparrow made him a household name across generations, Depp's impact reaches far beyond the decks of the Black Pearl. His story is one of creative bravery, personal demons, and an undying commitment to authenticity, even when it came at a cost. Born John Christopher Depp II in Owensboro, Kentucky, in 1963, Depp's early life was riddled with instability. His family moved frequently, and he often found solace in music, teaching himself to play guitar and dreaming of a future in rock and roll. That dream initially brought him to Los Angeles, where he hoped to make it in the music industry. However, fate had other plans. It was through a chance introduction to actor Nicolas Cage that Depp landed his first film role in Wes Craven's 1984 horror classic A Nightmare on Elm Street. While his character's death was gruesome and swift, it left a lasting impression. More importantly, it opened a door to a career that would soon become iconic. Depp's breakthrough came with the TV series 21 Jump Street, which launched him to teen idol status. Yet the fame that came with the show never sat comfortably with him. Even then, Depp resisted the pull of conventional stardom, seeking instead to challenge himself with roles that were quirky, dark, or misunderstood. After leaving 21 Jump Street, he deliberately steered away from commercial projects, gravitating toward more artistic and risky choices. This became a defining pattern in his career, rejecting the safe route in favor of roles that allowed him to disappear completely into character. One of the most significant collaborations of Depp's career began in 1990 with director Tim Burton. Their first film together, Edward Scissorhands, was a gothic fairy tale that resonated with audiences and critics alike. Depp's portrayal of the gentle, isolated Edward was hauntingly tender, and it cemented his reputation as a serious actor, with immense depth. The character, like many he would play over the years, was a misfit, beautiful and broken, capable of immense love, but unable to fit into the world around him. It was a theme that Depp would return to again and again, both on-screen and seemingly in his personal life. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, Depp built an impressive filmography filled with bold, unconventional roles. He portrayed real life. Figures like Edward D. Wood Jr. in Ed Wood, the drug-addled Hunter S. Thompson in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and notorious bank robber John Dillinger in Public Enemies. Each performance showcased Depp's remarkable ability to transform, often submerging himself so deeply into a role that the lines between actor and character blurred. While he frequently collaborated with Burton, appearing in films like Sleepy Hollow, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Sweeney Todd, he also worked with other celebrated directors, including Jim Jarmusch, Michael Mann, and Lasse Hallström. But it was in 2003 that Johnny Depp redefined his career with the release of Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. As Captain Jack Sparrow, Depp delivered a performance that was both outrageous and brilliant, inspired in part by Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards and the slapstick antics of classic silent film stars. The studio initially feared the performance was too odd, too risky, yet audiences adored it. Jack Sparrow became a cultural icon and earned Depp his first Academy Award nomination. For many, this character would become synonymous with Johnny. Depp himself, he reprised the role in multiple sequels, each time adding layers of nuance and absurdity and transforming the pirate genre into a billion-dollar franchise. While Jack Sparrow brought Depp massive financial success and worldwide recognition, it also placed him under an intense spotlight. The fame he had once rejected now loomed large, and the character that had revitalized his career also began to overshadow the rest of his work. Nonetheless, Depp continued to pursue unique projects that spoke to his artistic sensibilities. Films, like Finding Neverland, in which he portrayed Peter Pan author J.M. Barrie, reminded audiences of his emotional range and earned him further critical acclaim. Yet the 2010s marked a dramatic shift in Depp's public and personal life. His highly publicized relationship with actress Amber Heard spiraled into a series of legal battles, accusations, and media spectacles that threatened to destroy his reputation. Depp sued the Sun newspaper for libel after it labeled him a wife beater, and although he lost the UK case, a separate defamation trial in the United States brought a more favorable outcome. The courtroom drama became a global media event, dissected and debated across social platforms and news outlets. For many fans, it was heartbreaking to watch a once revered artist reduced to tabloid fodder. Others saw it as a reckoning, a moment of painful transparency that exposed the darker side of celebrity. Despite the controversies, Depp maintained a loyal fan base that believed in his innocence and his talent. His legal battles led to significant professional fallout. He was asked to resign from the Fantastic Beasts franchise and face challenges securing new roles. But it also sparked a broader conversation about redemption, due process, and the complexities of public image in the age of social media. In the aftermath, Depp appeared more introspective, more private, but no less determined to create art on his own terms. Throughout his career, Depp has also pursued other creative outlets, especially music. He co-founded the rock supergroup Hollywood Vampires with Alice Cooper and Joe Perry, using the platform to pay tribute to rock legends while expressing himself in a new medium. Music has always been central to his identity. Long before he was an actor, he was a guitarist. In concerts, he seems at home in a way that is less performative and more personal, unfiltered by character makeup or script. His paintings, too, have gained attention in recent years, revealing another side of his creative soul. Through portraits and visual art, Depp continues to explore the themes of pain, identity, and resilience. In the wake of his legal troubles, Depp slowly began to rebuild his career. His performance in the French-language film Jeanne du Barry marked a return to the screen that was both symbolic and significant. Playing King Louis XV, Depp embraced a role far removed from his earlier characters, speaking a language that wasn't his own, and navigating unfamiliar cinematic terrain. The film premiered at Cannes to mixed but intrigued responses, signaling not only his professional persistence, but also his willingness to evolve. For Depp, it was more than a comeback. It was a statement that his story was not over. What makes Johnny Depp's legacy so enduring is not just his filmography or his fame, but his refusal to be defined by a single narrative. He has inhabited countless personas, each crafted with a meticulous devotion to character and craft. He has endured public humiliation, personal pain, and professional exile, only to return with the same fierce commitment to his art. While many may remember him as the eccentric pirate with coal-lined eyes, those who look deeper see an artist who has spent decades confronting the world through performance, often using the broken pieces of his life as raw material. Depp's influence on modern cinema is undeniable. He paved the way for character actors to become leading men, for weird to be wonderful, for heartache to be expressed through eyeliner and slurred monologues. He inspired a generation of performers to be unafraid of failure, to embrace the peculiar, to dig deep into the human psyche and bring its shadows to light. Even his missteps have been instructive, revealing the volatile marriage of fame and fallibility. In a world that often demands perfection from its icons, Depp's imperfections made him relatable, if not always forgivable, certainly understandable. 4. All the noise that has surrounded his name, the essence of Johnny Depp remains remarkably consistent. A storyteller. Whether through dialogue, a guitar riff, a brushstroke, or a glance, he tells stories that resonate with outsiders, dreamers, and those who feel a little lost. His greatest roles are not just performances, they are portraits of longing, alienation, and hope. And while Jack Sparrow may be the face etched into popular memory, the soul of Johnny Depp's legacy is far more expansive, textured, and profound. In the end, Johnny Depp's life and work resist simplification. He is not just a pirate, nor merely a movie star. He is a survivor of Hollywood's most brutal cycles, a creative force who still believes in the power of transformation, and a man constantly searching for truth in a world full of illusion. To understand Johnny Depp is to recognize that he has never fit neatly into any one box, whether it be that of a leading man, a heartthrob, or a cautionary tale. He has long occupied the margins of the mainstream, straddling the line between cult favorite and global superstar, between beloved and vilified, between misunderstood and deeply admired. Even in his most high-profile roles, there is an unmistakable sense that Depp never plays the character at face value. He slips beneath the surface, warping and twisting archetypes into something strange and intimate. His performances do not beg for approval. They offer windows into a mind that is acutely sensitive to beauty, pain, eccentricity, and contradiction. The legacy Johnny Depp leaves behind is not one that can be defined by a single franchise or performance. It is a body of work that dares to challenge convention, often at the expense of commercial viability. Many of his roles did not shatter box office records or win Oscars, but they cultivated something more valuable, a kind of loyalty from audiences who saw themselves in his characters. These were not heroes in the traditional sense. They were often broken men, lost souls, or fantastical misfits, people whose vulnerabilities were laid bare in a world that seldom has patience for imperfection. From the introspective melancholy of Edward Scissorhands to the drug-fueled chaos of Raoul Duke, Depp has made a career of humanizing the unrelatable, of making the strange seem familiar and the outcast feel seen. His devotion to character has always superseded his concern with vanity or image. Depp has often appeared on screen covered in prosthetics, adorned with wigs, teeth darkened, face distorted. He has spent decades willingly disappearing beneath layers of costume, accent, and affectation, not to hide but to reveal. It is in this paradox that much of his artistry resides. By masking himself, he finds new ways to express deeper emotional truths. Even when critics dismissed some of his later performances as caricatures, there remained an undeniable commitment. Behind the eyes, an actor who never phones it in, who approaches each role with the curiosity of a craftsman and the vulnerability of someone unafraid to expose his inner life. But his journey hasn't been confined to film sets or red carpets. Depp's story is marked by real-world struggles that often bled into public view, bringing both scrutiny and sympathy. He has battled addiction, weathered financial loss, and fought highly publicized legal wars that tested his reputation and resolve. The media has often been quick to sensationalize his missteps, portraying him alternately as a villain or a victim, depending on the moment. Yet through it all, there is a quiet resilience that has defined his path, a refusal to give up, to go quietly into obscurity, to allow others to write the final chapter of his life. He has remained defiant, not in the loud, performative way of a tabloid celebrity, but in the subtle, enduring manner of someone who believes that his story still has worth. That belief is evident in his continued passion for the arts. Beyond acting, Depp has pursued painting, music, and philanthropy. In recent years, his art exhibitions, featuring vivid, often soul-bearing portraits of cultural icons, have been met with enthusiasm, offering yet another glimpse into his complicated interior world. Through music, particularly with the Hollywood vampires, he has kept alive the spirit of rebellion and reverence for rock and roll that once propelled him toward fame. These endeavors are not just hobbies or side projects. They are essential components of his identity, facets of a man who has always sought creative outlets to express what words alone cannot convey. For those who grew up watching him evolve from the boyish officer on 21 Jump Street to the tragic poet in Dead Man, from the whimsical Mad Hatter to the cynical Gellert Grindelwald, Depp has represented not just entertainment, but evolution. His career charts the rise and fall and rise again of an artist unafraid to change, even when the change came with cost. He did not chase trends or shape himself to fit the Hollywood mold. If anything, he broke that mold over and over, forcing audiences and industry insiders alike to reconsider what a leading man could be. His fearlessness in embracing roles that others might avoid, those too strange, too risky, too emotionally exposed, has carved out a space where the unconventional is not just accepted but celebrated. Johnny Depp's influence also extends into the cultural imagination. Jack Sparrow may be the most visible symbol of his impact, a character so indelible that children still mimic his swagger years after the films peaked in popularity. But it is far from the full picture. For many, Depp represents the archetype of the artist who refuses to compromise, who follows his instincts even when the path is unclear. He has become a symbol of creative perseverance, a figure whose vulnerability and volatility are not liabilities, but testaments to a deeply felt life. In an industry often built on superficiality, Depp has insisted on being real, messily, imperfectly, and unapologetically so. As time moves on and new stars emerge, Johnny Depp's place in cinematic history will remain singular. He may not always have been the most celebrated actor of his generation by traditional standards, but he is undoubtedly one of its most important. His choices reshaped expectations, his performances etched themselves into the psyche of audiences, and his presence challenged the very idea of celebrity. Whether he continues acting or chooses to retreat further into music and painting, his legacy is already secure, not just because of what he portrayed on screen, but because of what he stood for: creativity without compromise, truth over polish, and art that dares to feel. So when the curtain finally does fall on Johnny Depp's extraordinary career, what will remain are not just the characters, the accolades, or the controversies, but the sense that here was a man who lived and worked on his own terms. A prism of contradictions, a mosaic of moments, and ultimately, an artist whose voice, whether whispered through a line of dialogue, strummed on a guitar, or painted onto canvas, still echoes long after the applause has faded. His work was never confined to scripts or expectations. It was born from a place of restless imagination, where each role was not simply an assignment, but a journey. Depp rarely chose the easy path. Even when fame offered him comfortable repetition, he opted for risk, for strangeness, for emotional complexity. He chased roles that allowed him to explore the outer limits of character, to transform, to become. And in doing so, he invited audiences to look deeper, to connect not just with what was presented on the surface, but with the soul of the character. And, perhaps with the artist himself, what will endure is the integrity he brought to his work, the artistic bravery that often placed him at odds with industry norms. While some actors sought consistency and career security, Depp sought creative freedom. He rejected typecasting, choosing instead to inhabit roles that spoke to something primal within him, an urge to experiment, to rebel, to feel. This fearless devotion to craft, even in the face of criticism or commercial failure, is what solidified his reputation not just as a star, but as a true artist. He did not seek perfection, nor did he pretend to have all the answers. What he offered was authenticity, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it exposed him to scrutiny. And that honesty, rare in a world of curated images and controlled narratives, is what many will remember most. His legacy will live not only in the films that continue to captivate new generations, but in the creative spirit he embodied. He inspired others to take chances, to tell stories that defy convention, to embrace what makes them different. He proved that art could be both personal and universal, intimate yet expansive. As time moves on, the mythology of Johnny Depp will grow. Not simply because of what he achieved, but because of the uncompromising way in which he achieved it.